What's up, BlueTube? It's your boy, the Blu-ray Bandit, back once again with another 4K eBay unboxing. This one coming to us all the way from Austin, Texas. In this box, there are 24 4K titles. I paid $194.14. That's a per title average of $8.17 each. Also, 6 of the 24 titles in here are Criterion 4K titles, which, if you've been collecting those, you know that $8.17 each is an insane price for a Criterion 4K title. Let's jump into it and see what I got. First up, we've got Casino, a Martin Scorsese picture starring Robert De Niro, Sharon Stone, and Joe Pesci. This is a pretty good gangster film. I mean, it's no Goodfellas for sure, but it also happens to be a title that with digital code. Yeah, it also happens to be a title that I already own, but my copy is brand new and sealed on the shelf. And so I'm going to swap it out for this copy. I'll probably also have to replace the case. It looks like there's a little chunk taken out of the case right there. You can kind of see it even better right there. This one needs a new case, but then it's hitting the shelf and I'm going to resell my sealed copy. Next up is Ex Machina, one of my favorite A24 titles, written and directed by Alex Garland, who also wrote 28 Days Later and Dread. More movies I enjoy. Yeah, this is just a great sci-fi thriller. I love it. This is pretty much the movie that turned me on to Alex Garland. If you haven't seen the TV show Devs, there was only one season, but it's a complete story within one season. Also written and directed by Alex Garland. If you haven't seen that, you should definitely check it out. I already own Ex Machina in 4K, so this one's getting a new owner on eBay. Next up, we've got Sicario, directed by Denis Villeneuve and starring Emily Blunt, Benicio del Toro, and Josh Brolin. And of course, it's certified fresh and one of the best movies of the year. I tend to agree, at least the best of that year. I love this movie. I also love the sequel. With digital code. As I was saying, I also loved the sequel, Day of the Soldado, which not many people seem to love, but I did. Oh, this one looks like it's damaged as well. It looks like the case has a little break in it right here. I don't know if you can see that, but yeah, case is broken. Another one broken. This auction was listed in condition of good, not necessarily like new. I was curious what that meant based on the photos, and between the other broken case and now this broken case, hopefully this is not a trend, because while I do have extra cases as replacements, I don't have a ton of them. And I'm going to have to replace this one because I already own this on 4K, so I'm going to need to resell this copy. That break on the inside isn't too bad. You never know from the outside. Maybe I'll just list it as is and make a note in the description. Either way, this copy is going bye-bye. The Deer Hunter on Shout Select with minty slipcover, a movie that I have never seen for one reason or another, but one that has come highly recommended to me. I've probably had it on my shelf for the better part of a year at this point. And yeah, I don't know why I haven't stuck this one in yet, because it clearly feels like a movie that would be right up my alley. Sometimes I drag my heels a little bit here and there on movies that I know I will probably like, just because, I don't know, I'm a glutton for punishment. I couldn't tell you exactly. Maybe just because I know I'm going to enjoy it. So I just want to be in the perfect mood for when I actually pop it in. Like I said, I already own this. It's sitting on my shelf. It runs about $16 on eBay. So I'm going to resell this copy to help pay for some of the titles in this lot that I'd rather keep. And here we have a collection. This is John Wick chapters 1 through 3 in a nice little case that's about the size of a single title, which I love because I'm always fighting for more shelf space on my shelves. I already own John Wick chapters 1 through 3. With digital code. Lots of digital codes so far. Yeah, as I was saying, I already own John Wick chapter 1 through 3, but my copies are individual copies, and I'm going to swap those out for this collection and save myself some shelf space. And here we have The Godfather 1, 2, and 3, each with minty slipcovers. The original Godfather film, an absolute classic. No digital code in these. And really, it's just the 4K, no Blu-ray inside of here, which is pretty interesting, I guess. Maybe the only gangster movie that's better than The Godfather Part 2. I believe this is the only sequel to ever win Best Picture. These 4Ks contain the feature film and the special features. Godfather Part 2, a top 25 film of all time for me. And then you've got The Godfather Coda, aka The Godfather Part 3. Definitely a lesser film as far as the trilogy goes. This is kind of Francis Ford Coppola's re-editing of the film. They call it the definitive edit, restored and re-edited by Francis Ford Coppola. I think this is his way to just kind of reclaim the reputation of the movie. I've never actually seen this edit of the movie. I'm looking forward to doing a full rewatch of the Godfather Trilogy. Now that I have all 3 on 4K, they're new additions to the shelf. I already have these on Blu-ray, so I'll be reselling those copies. The Godfather Trilogy is an upgrade to me. And here's another trilogy of sorts. You've got Reservoir Dogs, Pulp Fiction, and Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. A trilogy of sorts, I said. A trilogy of sorts in that they're all Quentin Tarantino films. Reservoir Dogs comes with a minty slipcover. One of my favorite films of all time. I remember watching this for the first time as a young gentleman and just kind of having my mind blown by the fact that the majority of the movie takes place in a warehouse, and yet I was riveted the entire time. Then you've got Pulp Fiction, which moves around a lot, both in location and timeline. And it equally blew me away for sure. In fact, at the time, I didn't really think much about any of the actors in this movie. I mean, I remember enjoying John Travolta. I remember knowing who Samuel L. Jackson was. Certainly, I knew who Bruce Willis was, Christopher Walken maybe, but the combination of these people, as well as the new cast of characters, including Uma Thurman in Pulp Fiction, just cemented them in my brain. And I've watched movies from pretty much all of these actors my entire life. I loved it. And then you've got his most recent movie, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, starring Leonardo DiCaprio, Brad Pitt, and Margot Robbie. I love this as well. I actually already have this on 4K, and so I'm going to need to resell this copy just to recoup some of the investment in this 4K lot. Now, I forgot to say that I actually already own Reservoir Dogs and Pulp Fiction on 4K, but my copies don't have the slipcover, and my copies are brand new and sealed. And so I'm going to flip my brand new and sealed copies and these versions, which are already opened, and these opened copies will go on my shelves and add to my complete Quentin Tarantino collection. Next up, we've got King Kong Ultimate Edition, starring Naomi Watts, Jack Black, and Adrian Brody. This is the King Kong reboot from the early aughts, directed by Peter Jackson. This was his follow-up to The Lord of the Rings. You got the 4K, the Blu-ray, and the bonus features on Blu-ray. I know not everybody loves this movie, but I like it quite a bit. It's maybe my favorite King Kong movie of all time. Not by a lot. I do enjoy the original from the 1920s, I think it was. I don't remember, but I got to see the original in a movie theater on re-release, and it was pretty awesome, especially when you consider it's nearly 100 years old. Selling my Blu-ray copy and adding Peter Jackson's King Kong to the collection. Here's maybe my third favorite King Kong movie of all time. This is Kong Skull Island, starring Tom Hiddleston, Samuel L. Jackson, John Goodman, Brie Larson, and John C. Reilly. Certainly the funniest King Kong movie of all time. This copy is brand new and sealed. I enjoyed the kind of post-Vietnam setting of this movie, the kind of apocalypse now vibes the film tries to sell. Yeah, it's a good one. I'm going to add it to my shelf for now, but be on the lookout for a used version to swap it out with. Whoever this was, they loved their monster movies. This is Godzilla and Godzilla King of Monsters. If I had to choose between these two, I would definitely pick Godzilla, directed by Gareth Edwards, the director of the indie film Monsters. And most recently, he directed Creator. This one comes with minty slipcover in awesome condition. Another movie that I know not everybody loves, but I enjoy it quite a bit, especially visually. And I enjoyed kind of the 30-minute in swerve that they pulled at the time. At the time, they put out trailers that made it look like one particular actor starred in the movie. And then like 30 minutes in, they yank that rug out from underneath you. It was pretty great. This is the sequel. I don't believe, no, this one was directed by Michael Dougherty. By this point, I think Gareth Edwards had moved on to Star Wars Rogue One. And I think it showed because I think Godzilla King of, with digital code. Yeah, I think it showed because I think at this point, Godzilla King of Monsters, it lost something visually for me. It's still an impressive movie, kind of an eye-searing spectacle. It's worth a little space on the shelf, although I'm not sure when I'll ever get to rewatching both of these. I'll probably watch the first one way before I watch the second. And speaking of Godzilla and King Kong, this is Godzilla vs. Kong on Steelbook. That's right, a beautiful minty Steelbook. You got the 4K there. There's the Blu-ray. There's the full thing for those who love it. This is a movie I've seen but don't really remember much about. Honestly, more than the movie itself, I just remember watching the movie at a drive-in in Blue Ridge, Georgia. It's not a good sign when you remember where you saw the movie more than the movie itself. I'm going to add this one to the shelf, but I'm definitely going to be on the lookout for a normal used copy because this runs about $20 on eBay. And since I don't really care about Steelbooks, I'm going to look for the opportunity to flip it. And now we're into the good stuff. These are the 4K Criterion titles. This is The Virgin Suicides, directed by Sofia Coppola from the late 90s. I believe this was her first feature film. Now, the reason why I'm so excited about these 4K Criterion titles is because even used, these are hard to find for less than $20 each. So to get them in a lot like this for less than $10 each, roughly $8.17, was quite the find. I already own The Virgin Suicides on Criterion Blu-ray. I'll be selling that copy and adding this 4K version to the shelf. Another title upgraded from Criterion Blu-ray to Criterion 4K. It's Richard Linklater's Dazed and Confused, another early 90s title, 1993 to be exact. Dazed and Confused, one of my favorite comedies of all time, a 70s set hangout movie. This one with just some beautiful packaging. I mean, this thing is flawless. Comes with this nice, thick, bound book, as well as some kind of poster. Yeah, this is pretty much the same poster they had in the Blu-ray. You got the 4K title and the Blu-ray, and you got the die-cut slipcover. An awesome package for an awesome movie. Upgrading my Criterion Blu-ray for the 4K. Another Criterion Blu-ray to Criterion 4K upgrade for me. This is Uncut Gems, starring Adam Sandler, a Safdie brothers film. Now, I already own this on Criterion Blu-ray. A deeply uncomfortable film, kind of an action drama in a way. Comes with your standard Criterion booklet. Although this one is kind of styled like a brochure for Adam Sandler's jewelry company. I kind of love that. Kind of love the theming on this one. The 4K and the Blu-ray. Beautiful, shiny package. Can't wait to add it to the shelf. I was kind of bummed that the Safdie brothers kind of informally announced that they're done making movies together, because between Uncut Gems and Good Times, they had hit a solid 2 out of 2 for me. Selling my other copies and keeping this Criterion 4K. And finally, we've got the Three Colors Trilogy, Blue, White, and Red by Krzysztof Kieslowski. I've seen 2 of these. I think I've seen White and Red, but have not seen Blue yet. But I can't wait to check it out. Again, this is the 4K version of all 3 movies. They're French films, French dramas that have similarities in them. They're not like it's not like a direct trilogy. It's a weird one for sure. Of the 2 I've seen, I definitely prefer Red, although White was great as well. I would say it's more like a thematic trilogy, if anything. I think there's like a little bit of story crossover in the final film, which I think was maybe White. I don't know. I'm pretty sure you don't have to watch these in order just because the stories are kind of separate, even though they're grouped together. It's a hard one to describe. Comes with this great, nice, thick book with all kinds of notes from the films. I got a question for you Criterion collectors out there. What do you do with the books? Do you read them on your own time, or do you read them as you're watching the movie, kind of like I do? I mean, I don't read them in full. I generally just peruse them, and if anything catches my eye, I will pause the movie and then finish the reading. The great thing about those booklets is that they rarely have spoilers in them, which is awesome. I did not have them in my collection on Blu-ray or otherwise, so I'm excited to add them in the best possible quality, adding the Three Colors Trilogy to my personal Criterion collection. And there we go, 24 titles, all 4K with 6 Criterion titles. Total cost of $194.14 per title, average $8.17 each, and a total estimated value of $315. Not bad. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and leave a comment for the YouTube algorithm. Doing any of those kinds of things really helps the channel out. Don't you ever feel like everything we do and everything we've been taught is just to service the future? Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time. Until then, goodbye.